Welcome back to the channel. Snide here with another rep versus retail, snide versus genuine, fake versus real, whatever you call them, whatever I call them. What you won't hear is UA, but less said on that, the better really. Let's not get into that whole debacle again. Now, today I have the Air Max 1 86 OG Big Bubble. As always on these videos, what you'll see in a second is me wearing a fake pair on one foot and a real shoe on the other foot. It's up to you and your discerning critical eye to decide which one is the real one, which is the fake one. Now be honest. Be honest. Don't wait until I've revealed the answer to drop your comment. Drop it during that 1 minute you get of me walking around. You get 1 minute. 1 minute exactly. And that's probably about how long you would get to see someone's shoes as they're walking around. I'm not trying to prove any point here to say that one is better than the other or anything like that. This is all for educational purposes only. But there is a point in there that you don't know when you're walking around. And no one else knows what you're walking around in. So is it worth stressing? It's only worth stressing if you have paid resale for a shoe and you're not sure if you paid for the item that you were expecting. So today's video is to help you with that. Hopefully the shoe that you bought is the genuine one. Now you are lucky because this fake pair only came out in China yesterday. Date of recording this is the 30th of April. They were released on the 29th. I got them in hand today on the 30th. Next day they're stinking of glue because they're brand new. Hopefully if you got your shoe before this, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But if you didn't, pay close attention. Pay close attention if you're thinking of getting this shoe in the future, because they've worked on it. They put some effort in, but there are some tells which we'll get into after this on foot clip. Okay, we're back. Which one did you think was the fake? Was it the one on my left foot or the right foot? Well, the answer will become clear over the course of this video. I'm not going to give you the answer right now. What I want you to do is pay attention to the details that I show that make these two shoes different. Then we're going to play that clip again, and then you're going to see which one it was. I'm not going to give you the answer right now. That's at the end of the video. So pay close attention, stay tuned for the answer. Let's find out together. Let's have a look at these shoes. Well, here we have it. We have the retail on the left, the fake pair on the right. They've put some effort into this box. Look at this box. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to spot the difference between them. Obviously, there's a bit more red up here around the edges of the retail. Up here, there aren't so many on the fake. Having a look at the side of the box, you can see on the real one, there's a lot of red going on the fake pair. Let's have a look. Not too far off, to be honest. So the fake pair on the bottom here, not too far off. I would just say there's more red showing on here, but that could be interchangeable. I don't know. Looking at the front of the box, the bubbles, a little hint of what's to come, the same. Looking at the labels, got the real one up on the top with the QR code. This is from Sneakers in China, and the label here, the fake one, looking very much the same. I would say there's a bit more gloss. You can see a bit more gloss to the real sticker. This one not so much. See, it's a bit more of a matte finish. Pretty clear difference there. There are going to be a lot of differences in these shoes, so you don't need to stress the box too much. but it's worth noting. It is worth pointing out to you. So we're going to turn this around because it's a hinge box. I want them to both be on display when I open this up. So don't lose track. Real on the left, fake on the right. So there's a difference here. That red stamp isn't present on the retail paper. I've already opened this box, as you'll have seen. I just unboxed it to check it out. I would say not much difference between the paper. This one's just more wrinkled and crinkled because I've opened it already, and actually chucked these on foot, at least one of them, because I wanted to check the sizing, because when I got, I'm going to get both out. I'm going to get both out here, both shoes. When I recently got the, what were they called? The corduroys off sneakers, off the sneakers app. They didn't fit in my size in an 11. What's going on there? They were too tight. So I sent them back. Not only because they were too tight, but they were also just crappy quality. Right, now back to these. This is what the focus is. From this angle, they look pretty much the same. I'm going to turn them around so they're facing us. So we have, should we just do one shoe? We'll just do one shoe. I'm going to take the right shoes away. So we've got two left shoes. So you've got the real one here, the fake one here. So let's get into it. From the top-down view, they do look remarkably similar. Obviously, this one, Sneakers China, comes with the chunky NFC tag that you can scan and actually tells you about the shoe. So we'll ignore that, but it does help us to keep track of which one's which. Now, they both feature the color bleed. Whether that's intentional or not, I don't know. But there is color bleed on both of these tags. Let's get up close here. Excuse me, hit the camera there. Apologies. Looking at these tags, size-wise, they seem pretty much the same. Text looks a bit bolder on the fake one. You can see there where it says Max, it's a bit skinnier. Get the tongues out, that'll be easier. Yeah, you can see it's a bit lighter on the real one. It's like it's in bold on the fake pair. Also, the swoosh and Nike looks a little bit bigger and darker on the fake pair. In terms of materials, these feel very similar. They've done a good job there. That is pretty damn close. Now, the thing that jumped out to me straight away was the printing of 11. So on this fake pair, you can see it's come over the edge a little bit. I'm sure that could happen with retails if they're not careful, but it does show how much of the lining is visible here. We've come to the side because naturally I need to show you that. So you can see that there's a bit more of the lining exposed here on the collar area. On the retail, it's not so much. It's tucked in better. So there's a difference. We'll come to the insides later. We'll have a look at that later. Laces, I mean, they're white laces. They're going to be the same. Materials here seem very much the same. You'll note one difference here in the stitching. So on the real one, you've got this kind of semicircle going on. See that? Whereas on the fake pair, not so much. But if you didn't have them side by side, you might overlook a detail like that. But check out how different the shape is on the stitch there. Okay, now speaking of shape, we need to start looking at the pattern because the top-down view is very deceptive when you're looking at such a thing. Apart from the shape here, I mean, this one is laced up a lot tighter, this retail, than this rep. But you can see the kind of shape is different. But we're going to look now at the medial side. Let's have a look at the medial side. So we've got the replica on the top, retail on the bottom. Okay, the thing that is most obvious here would be the swoosh. The swoosh is a lot chunkier on the fake pair up here on the top. It's thinner on the retail. Placement wise, it's not bad, but it is chunkier. And also the most obvious thing here is the bubble. We need to talk about the big bubble. That's what this shoe is named. So the retail looks like it's gone with white on the inside. Sorry, the fake looks like it's gone like it's white on the inside on the fake. whereas the retail, it's got a kind of yellow tint to it, talking about the structure inside. Kind of almost a pre-oxidized look to it, whereas this one is completely white on the inside. All right, apologies there, I mixed up rep and retail for a second. So now again, I'll keep the retail on the left, fake on the right. Let's have a look at these. Difference wise, not so obvious. I would say Nike text is slightly different, and the swoosh, but ever so slightly. Again, if you didn't have these in hand, you'd be hard pressed. Check out the dip at the back of the heel on the retail. It's very slight. On the fake, it's wider. Generally, the shape is a slightly wider look on the fake pair. Also, look at the midsole here. The fake pair is a brighter white, and the grooves on the back are slightly deeper. Again, I keep saying this, but it rings true for a lot of these details. Unless you have them hand in hand, you could easily forget something like that. All right, now let's look at we looked at the medial. Let's have a look at the lateral. So lateral view here, you've got the retail again on the left, fake on the right, just in case you weren't paying attention as I move stuff around. Look at the swoosh placement. Very, very obvious here. Fake is now at the top of the screen. That swoosh is too chunky and too low. Look, they've got it like placed with a very small gap between the other red panel beneath. On the retail, it's a lot thinner and sitting higher. Other panels, not too bad, not too far off. The general pattern is very, very close. Even the eye stay is pretty close. It's slightly brighter on the fake pair, but those are very, very close indeed. I'll put them down on the table. I know it's a little bit further away, but you can see there, those at a distance are pretty much the same thing. It's the swoosh that's betraying it. Check out the retail, how the swoosh comes along a lot further. It's thinner, comes all the way along and ticks up towards the top lace hole. This one is shorter, chunkier, goes up towards the second one. General shape of the shoe is very, very close. So let's have a look at the innards. I think we need to start looking at the inside of the shoe. Before we do that though, it's worth noting the toe strap. Let's not overlook the toe strap. So you can see here, the retail shape is quite low cut. The rep, it's chunkier. Slightly darker red as well. Doesn't have the same brightness to it. Look again here, the retail, this part, it dips it's quite a pronounced dip, the way it comes down. On the fake pair, not so much. And that means that this part is higher. Material wise, they're not far off, you know. It feels more like a cheaper sort of felt material on the fake pair. But they're pretty damn close. So you can see the shape there, how different that is. Look at the gap here. Look at the gap here on the fake, and look at the gap on the real one. Pretty stark. Again, side by side helps. Now coming to the outsole, I think the outsoles are going to be very similar. I don't expect there to be much difference here. Material wise, they seem the same. There's a bit of a shine to the fake pair. It's reflecting that light a bit more. Hopefully that's picked up on camera. Retail pair is a lot brighter as well. It's a brighter red, you can see there. Put them side by side, you can see there is a slight difference. Everything else is pretty clean. Pretty damn clean. Oh, there's something. There's something. The Nike symbol. So I noticed this on the reps of the SB4s. So, okay, we've got the real one here on the left. Look at this Nike symbol. See how it's straight on? This one's at an angle. Very minor thing, but something you can use to check. The little dimples for the grips slightly smaller. They're a bit chubbier on these. Those little nubs. But for the most part, pretty much the same. I mean, they've got the molding spot on. Okay, let's start to look at the insides. If there weren't enough checks for you already, let me make sure the real one's always on the left. It's going to make things easier for us. Let's have a look at this paper. You got a brown paper used on the retail and a white paper on the rep, but I'm sure that can change, so nothing really there that is useful to us. We'll look at the tags as well, but let's have a look at these insoles. Okay, straight away, look at that. There's a lot of glue on this fake pair. It's stuck to my hand. On the retail, there's no glue. And I mean, apart from the obvious color difference here, they are pretty similar. The real one, it's got a little square here. And Nike is that way round. On the fake pair, it's the other way round. And it's obviously the wrong color. So, you know, I need to point these things out for the sake of it. For the sake of being thorough, even though there's been enough things already that you shouldn't really need to dip inside the shoe. I just want to be thorough and cover all bases in here. Okay, now an obvious one here is the Strobel board. The Strobel board there, nothing visible through it. Strobel board on the fake one. You can see they've got some text under there, Nike something, Nike Tech or something. I can't quite make it out. But you can see they've used the traditional one. Whereas on this one, it's got more of a felt finish to it. There's some material there you can actually pull away. I think it's a felt cover. It's got some fluff on it. And while we're here, let's have a look at these tags. So, made in Vietnam. Made in Vietnam. It's quite hard to show those both at the same time. There we go. Fake at the top. Real on the bottom. They are pretty much the same. Yeah, not much between them. Alright. Now, it's blacklight time. I know we've covered everything already, but again, for the sake of just the covering of all bases, we're going to have a look here to see what it looks like under a blacklight. Give me 1 second. Dip the lights. Trusty blacklight. Let's have a look. So retail on the left. I mean, it's glowing like mad because there's a lot of white on this upper. A lot of dust on it as well. Nothing, absolutely nothing visible. Fake pair. Guidelines everywhere. You can see the guidelines to direct them where they are to stitch the swoosh, where they've placed that. You can see it around the heel counter. You can see them here. Guidelines are plenty, just all over the shoe. It's pretty common, especially on an Air Max. Whenever there's a rep of an Air Max, I see a lot of guidelines like that. Beyond that though, nothing. Is there a factory stamp on here worth checking for? No, nothing. But again, the guidelines. So you can see here where they've been given some guidelines here. They haven't really kept to them either. Either the guidelines were inaccurate or the pattern was, but yeah, you can see how that was constructed. I have never seen guidelines on a retail shoe. Be interested to see how they avoid that, how they avoid using those when stitching. It's pretty cool that they do it. I'd love to see footage of that. I guess maybe there's some more automated process going on. But there we go. I think that's pretty much covered everything. So, does that clear things up for you? It should be pretty evident. I don't think there's any chance of you getting confused by these things. But there is the possibility that someone who isn't scrupulous and doesn't do their homework, doesn't check them, could get done. I would say that was fairly conclusive. I mean, if you really just want to have a glance at a shoe and know which one it is, the thing I would look for is the swoosh placement. So pretty obvious, the fake one, the swoosh is too chunky and very close to here, no gap at all. On the real pair, you'll see there is a gap and it's more elongated and looking a bit finer. The rest of the shoe, not that bad. Pretty damn crazy. For an Air Max 1, we don't typically tend to see really good reps, and for them to actually bust out a brand new mold says something about the way that the fakes are going. A lot more attention is being paid, a lot more investment into getting these things right. And now as I hold them up, something I may have not pointed out during that video, the size of that bubble on the rep, they made it even bigger. It's an even bigger bubble. It is absolutely massive. You can see there as I hold them up on screen, you can see the fake bubble is huge. So there you go, pretty conclusive stuff. Hope this was useful for you. If it was, do consider subscribing. Plenty more rep versus retail content coming up on the channel. As and when stuff comes up on sneakers, what's easiest for me is when it sits, like these ones. They're still available on the sneakers app here in China, full size run available. But I'll try a win, I'll try and land stuff, and if I don't, I'm more than happy to pay resell, just for the sake of this channel more than anything. I'm not really asked myself which one I wear on foot. They're both very similar, both very comfortable. So stay tuned to the channel, we'll see what else pops up on here.